championships. SEC now with you for the next hour and a half to recap a game that no one will be forgetting about anytime soon. Tim Tebow standing next to me here. What just happened?
I mean, are you kidding me? The mistakes that were made by both freshmen, and then they come back, run a 4 verticals, and hit him down the left sideline. It was a huge mistake by Georgia. The corner just passed him off, and the safety didn't take him. I mean, it's a great throw, great route, but that's a blown coverage.
Wow. You're exhausted, you said.
Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, look, the mistakes that he made, we questioned the halftime adjustment. We talked about it a little bit while we were watching the game. When he made that switch, it was worth questioning. Came out, had a good first drive, threw an interception his second drive. But to have a freshman quarterback with a handful of reps come in and win a national championship the way that played out, that is the perfect way to cap off what this college football season has been about.
You want to talk about legacy?
Oh,
that's one way to start it, fellas.
Listen, free food, free clothes, free...
You've got to think that
After
the
he leaves
future
Alabama.
Yeah,
exactly.
political.
Let's make sure we're correct there. Guys, the future's so bright for both of these teams.
Yeah.
We saw 2 freshman quarterbacks battling it out tonight. And Marcus, I feel like a ton of credit deserved to Jake Fromm and his team as well.
I thought he played great. He missed some opportunities late in the game. Here's my issue. The difference between being here before and then your first time you're trying to get everything done. I thought Georgia got a little tight offensively. I thought they didn't keep their foot on the gas, and you can't play Nick Saban to preserve a win. You have to take opportunities and make them happen as much as possible, and I feel like Georgia just gave them 1 too many possessions.
Tim, they missed the field goal, Alabama does, as time is expiring, the regular time is expiring. They head to overtime. We're sitting here on the sideline. You're saying, man, momentum is swinging toward Georgia's way. How was Alabama able to come up with that, aside from the blown coverage and everything else you're talking about?
Their defense played great in the second half. Gave up a few plays, but overall played great. It was 1 busted coverage. That was the deciding factor of this game. Let's not make it more than that. It was 1 busted coverage. That Tua, great throw, great route, but it's a busted coverage to win the national championship. That's why it's so stunning, because a Georgia defense that was so sound, so physical, got so much pressure. First play, it's 2nd and 16. And my biggest question is, was it supposed to be quarters and he thought it was 2 and there wasn't communication? But
Tim, you've been playing this game a long time. It just can't happen.
In national championship games, that cannot happen.
You have to force him to make a acrobatic catch. He cannot get wide open for a touchdown in overtime to win a game.
That can never happen.
We felt like this could come down to a couple plays, maybe even just 1 play, and that ends up being exactly what it is. An overtime thriller, guys, as we welcome you here inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Laura Rutledge, Tim Tebow, Marcus Spears.
I'm shocked.
Guys,
I am in shock right now.
it was incredible, right? I mean, an all-SEC national championship game. There were critics out there of it. It ends up, Tim, becoming an incredible back and forth in the second half.
I mean, it is so unbelievable the way that ended for 2 great teams. And I think we need to give Georgia a lot of credit.
Yeah.
They played an unbelievable game. They lost momentum in the 4th quarter, and I think they tightened up a little bit. But an unbelievable performance, but you hate to see them lose on that.
Yeah.
Right? You want to see Alabama
Just
win
earn
on
it.
Earn it.
You want to see them earn it. And look,
Wow.
For everybody out there that especially Georgia fans that are questioning things, these dudes played their heart out.
Yeah.
All right. And in the second half, the same thing that happened to Georgia today happened to Alabama last year. Too many plays in the second half.
And tempo.
And you hit a big play. A game winner to reverse what happened to you last year. You couldn't write it.
You know what's crazy? Is there's a very good chance these 2 teams play again next year.
Good point.
Maybe not in the championship.
Yeah.
Probably in the SEC championship. And maybe competing again in the playoff.
Guys, we will definitely definitely get into more as we continue on here. And we're going to be heading to our set right now, so excuse any potential trip-ups that anybody has. But it felt like one of the big moments in the game was when Najee Harris started getting into a rhythm. And Marcus, we felt like that was a time where Georgia's defense started to wear down.
Yeah, it was. And we talked about it. You know, the three freshmen that were playing. Look, a freshman caught the game-winning touchdown. A freshman threw the game-winning touchdown. And a freshman running back was the bell cow in the second half of this football game.
And don't forget the freshman left tackle, Alex Leatherwood.
Absolutely,
one of the most important positions on the field. He has to come in.
It's tremendous. Look, that age-old tale that we tell all the time. What you just witnessed was recruiting. That's what you just saw. You just saw why these coaches spend night after night, day after day, trying to get good football players. And for four freshmen at this moment not to be too big for them, unbelievable.
Tim, we're looking at Nick Saban right here as he's just won his 6th national championship, tying Bear Bryant. You've talked about the legacy, the dynasty that he has built. What does this do for it?
Well, I think it solidifies him being the best college football coach of all time. I also say this, it might be the sweetest for him. The way it happened, the comeback, when it looked really bleak for a while. No offense, putting in a freshman quarterback, the defense, your staple is not there. You're not playing defense and you can't run the ball. And you find a way to get it done. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, Marcus, it felt like Tua Tagovailoa could be Nick Saban's secret weapon. But would he go to him in a national championship game?
Laura, I don't care. He's the greatest ever, but I'm going to tell you something right now. The onside kick 2 years ago against Clemson was big. Putting a true freshman in at halftime of a national championship is the gutsiest thing I've ever seen a head coach do.
It speaks to
all of my years watching.
It speaks to the trust they have in him.
It speaks to the talent that he's shown in practice over and over again, and then when he's gotten in the game.
But Tim, you have no idea how he's going to respond.
For sure.
No clue.
But you know what? I also think he felt like he didn't have a choice.
I'm with you on that. But still, he put a freshman in the national championship.
One thing, too, guys, Tua Tagovailoa has been with his team, obviously, all season long. He's practiced a ton. He got a bunch of extra practice time leading up to the Sugar Bowl. Lots of time taking almost even reps with Jalen Hurts. And then, of course, practice time in a short week here. Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua just threw a game-winning touchdown
in overtime.
In the national championship.
First of all, he threw the game-tying touchdown, and then the game-winning.
And he is joined by Maria Taylor. Let's hear from him now.
When did you find out that you were going in?
I mean, I found out when we were in the locker room. You know, Coach brought the quarterbacks together, and he made the statement that, Tua, you're going to start out the second half, and we're going to rotate the quarterbacks. See how things go. So we went from there.
What went through your mind when Coach let you know you were about to play in a national championship game?
My parents would be mad, but excuse me. First and foremost, I just like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. With Him, all things are possible, and that's what happened tonight. But I mean, it was a team effort tonight. I mean, couldn't have been done without the defense getting us the ball back. Our O-line blocking, working their butts off, as well as our receivers. It was just a great team effort. And they were the guys that made me look good tonight. So,
when you saw that field goal was hooked left, you knew you would have to take the field one more time and try to win this game. I mean, what were you saying before you took the field again?
I mean, I didn't say anything. We're just going back in, just taking a play at a time, and that's what happened.
Now that you're a national champion, as a true freshman, I mean, describe what it means for you in this moment.
In this moment, I mean, it means the world. But at the same time, I mean, all glory goes to God. I can't describe what He's done for me and my family. Who would have ever thought I would have been here, right now, in this moment. So, I thank God for that, and I just like to thank my teammates and Coach Saban for giving me the opportunity.
And describe what you saw on that final game-winning play.
They had split safety. The safety on Devontae's side, on the single receiver side, he tried to disguise his coverage. I tried to look him off. He stayed in the middle, and then I went back outside. It was cover 2 on their side, but he stayed inside. So, I mean, I took a shot downfield, and he caught it.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. The trophy presentation about to start here inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium as the Alabama Crimson Tide are the 2018 College Football Playoff National Champions. Tua Tagovailoa, all the way from Hawaii. His parents bought into Alabama so much that they moved to Alabama to be close to him. They've surrounded him with that support, and he feels like Alabama has been his family. One thing I want to say, guys, this may be a little bit of a weird night for Jalen Hurts, but what we saw from him on the sideline, supporting his teammate, continually clapping him on, doing everything he could to help him out, to me, that should not go unnoticed.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
And it started before before Tua even went in the game. He gave him a big hug, he patted him on the butt, and you could see him giving him words of encouragement the whole time.
Well, it's respecting the game. And what it's more about is that this is bigger than me. And if he's going to give us an opportunity, I can sacrifice myself for everybody else. And that's the decision that he made. So shout out to Jalen for that, man.
It was an incredible game, and the freshmen stepped up so big. Tim, you've been in these moments as a freshman. How were they able to quiet those nerves and work through them? Because Jalen obviously has dealt with this before. Tua had a couple times where he overthrew a little bit. He seemed a little jittery. How do you quiet those and end up coming up big?
Well, it's really difficult. I think there's something special about the kid because those nerves can creep back in when you're down 7 and you got to go drive the length of the field and tie the game. And then it doesn't go well, and then you have a 4th down, and you think time after time, we have it, and then you get a setback. And he didn't flinch. And, yeah, he made a couple silly plays in the game that he won't make next year or the year after that. But he was able to overcome all of that and continue to stay focused, locked in, and get the job done.
Look, I talked about the move that he made, but quiet is kept. You don't know if the move was the right move by Nick Saban and Brian Daboll. You don't know. And for it to end like this, it's all accredited to 13 because he could have went out, and I think the first successful drive was huge for him to be able to move the ball down the field and get in the end zone and get that confidence going. The second possession, he throws an interception. How do you respond? And that's what this guy as a head coach preaches every day.
And by the way, he's responding as Jake Fromm and his team is responding right back, going blow for blow until they did run out of some of that rhythm in that 4th quarter. It could have easily been number 11 for Georgia that we're talking about right here, right now, which is what makes this such an incredible game. And Nick Saban with that 6th national championship title, now joined by Tom Rinaldi.
Game. So, hey, it's just a great win, man. I'm so happy for Alabama fans. Great for our players. Unbelievable.
After what happened last year, losing with 1 second to go, the mantra all season was finish. How did you coach your team to do that tonight? What spirit did they show you, Nick?
Well, you know, I told them in the beginning, I said, look, all we got to do is execute. We make so many mistakes in the first half. I mean, we were shooting ourselves in the foot left and right. So I said, if we just go have poise and focus to execute like we do all the time, that's who we are, we'll have a chance to get back in this game. And the players believed it and came back and did a great job.
Your 6th national championship. You tie Bear Bryant for most in the poll era. Take a second and hear that. What does that mean to you?
You know, right now, I'm just happy for all these folks here. I'm happy for all these folks. I'm happy for our players. I don't care anything about that, to be honest with you. This was a great win for our players, and I've never been happier in my life.
Never.
Never.
Congratulations, Nick.
Okay, so before this game, Marcus, you almost had a tear in your eye talking about Nick Saban and what he's accomplished, what we're witnessing here in this era of college football. What can you say now that he has won that next national championship?
I mean, you know, I've said it before. Everybody just needs to take a second and realize what they're being able to witness. I mean, this will not come around for a long time after this. And I think when you put it all into perspective, Nick Saban has done a tremendous job at one thing better than everybody else, all right? And that's every time his team steps on the field, they feel like they can win the game. And I'm not sure if everybody's team feels like that all the time. And because of the experience, he can go beyond where most coaches go, and his players can go beyond where most players go.
Tua Tagovailoa embracing his father there.
It doesn't get any better than that.
It's unbelievable.
It really doesn't.
It's unbelievable, man.
I guarantee you his mom is close by. She's been a big part of his support system as well.
I'll tell you what, in the championships that I was blessed to be a part of, there wasn't anything better than getting a chance to run over there and hug mom and dad and say thank you.
Tim, you also know a lot about getting revenge on teams that you've lost to before. This was an Alabama team that wasn't trying to get revenge on Georgia, but they never forgot that they lost on that final play against Clemson last year. How much sweeter is it when you can come back the following year and get it done this time?
It's a lot sweeter because you were just so close and it fell right through your fingertips. And now to be able to hold on to that trophy, to be able to celebrate, to be able to know that all the hard work that you put in for 365 days actually paid off. It wasn't a myth. It wasn't just something we talked about. It was true.
That was Tua's younger brother, Talia, who, by the way, is another very talented quarterback recruit. Could be the next in line. Definitely for the Tagovailoa family.
Are you kidding me? Is this a Disney movie?
We're going to Disney World. Who wants to go?
Both of y'all know me. It's very rare that I'm speechless. But I'm speechless right now. I'm telling you.
I mean, you almost can't even write these things.
You can't. Tim, you cannot write this type of thing. All right? This is like what was the hockey team that beat Russia?
Miracle.
A miracle.
Yeah.
I mean, this is of that magnitude for our game and what we've been able to witness. I mean, I honestly feel blessed to be able to be here right now while this is taking place, man.
And by the way, it wouldn't have been a miracle, wouldn't feel like this if Georgia hadn't showed up to play the way that they did, and then their fight that they displayed all game long.
And I think something else that needs to be mentioned is the way that this Alabama defense turned it around when it was not going well for them. The way that Minka Fitzpatrick kept fighting, the way Raekwon Davis stepped up and made some huge plays. Mac Wilson stepped up and made some huge plays. They were able, I mean, they were getting gashed a little bit, and it looked like one of the last drives of the game, Georgia was running it, pounding it, and Sony Michel was getting more and more, and all of a sudden Raekwon Davis gets a huge sack on 3rd and 2, and okay, they got a little life.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how good this Georgia football team was. And a part of it is you feel so bad for Nick Chubb and Sony Michel and these seniors on this football team. And then there's another part to it, though, Laura. And I think as you mature and you get older as a football player, you start to realize I was a part of that. You know, and there are no consolation prizes. It's really not. People talk about it. There is no second place. But for these guys, when they start to really put it in perspective, it was a special year for Georgia. And nobody can take that away from them.
Tonight it's an unreal special moment for Alabama, but it will be one of the toughest moments for the rest of their life.
The ones that don't have a chance.
And it's just a game, and we need to keep it in perspective. But these losses, they stick with you, and they hurt for a really, really long time because you know how close you are. And that's why I really do hurt for Nick Chubb, for Sony Michel, for these players. Jake Fromm's going to get another opportunity.
We had a question earlier this year on the SEC network, and someone asked, I forgot who I was on with, but they asked, would you rather get blown out or lose in the last second?
Blown out.
Ooh.
Blow me out every time. And I said it back then.
Because you're so
that
close.
is devastating.
Yeah.
That is devastating.
This will stick with them. There will be so many nights that you can't sleep where you replay every single moment and it hurts. And it doesn't matter. 10, 12 years later, it still hurts.
It's tough.
Yeah, and you've got to think, too, and we've talked about it, this Georgia team returning so much youth. Obviously, they lose Sony Michel and Nick Chubb, but DeAndre Swift right behind them. We've all said he might be a Heisman Trophy contender. Yeah. He could win the Heisman Trophy.
Georgia will be back.
Exactly. So maybe they get redemption. You never know. But, guys,
it's just so hard. Think about everything that had to go right for Georgia to get here this year. I mean, the forced fumble against Notre Dame. just not being good. Overtime, I mean, crazy. Are you kidding me?
To beat Auburn after just losing to them 2 weeks before that, right here in this building.
That is the, but that is the L's of college football, right?
Yeah.
Bama had to get a last-second throw against Mississippi State to win. They lost to Auburn, and then they dominated against Clemson. And then you come here and you play a Georgia team, and you go to overtime and get a W. Look, there is no. That's why what Nick Saban is doing is unbelievable. There's so many variables.
It's an exclamation point of epic proportions on a college football season that had so many incredible, memorable moments across the country. It all came to a head right here in the South with a Southeastern Conference clash that will go down in history forever. And one of the big names that stepped up in this game was Riley Ridley. You felt like a Ridley was going to step up, and maybe it would be Calvin Ridley, joined by Lauren Sisler, but wearing his brother Riley's jersey right now.
Calvin, trying to find you out here in the crowd. You switched up your jersey on as number 8. What's the deal here?
I had to get it. My brother, he played great. Even if he didn't play, I was going to get it.
What did you say to your brother after this football game and after this hard-fought win for you guys?
This is exactly what I said. Man, you went crazy. You were going crazy out there. I was on the sideline. I'm just like, oh my God, this man is really like completely getting all the third downs from him. He's helping them a lot. But to be real, I was just saying, man, you did good. Keep your head up. And he was like, all right, he was happy.
You were part of the national championship last year. You came up short, but now you guys are here hoisting that trophy. How good does it feel?
Feels good. I could just like, as that last drive in overtime, all I was thinking about is the 110s we ran in the summer. And the last one that we always ran was an overtime one. And that's what it is. They feel so good to win.
How would you define this football team, all the adversity you faced all season long, getting into the playoff there, number 4 team in the country? What would you say to all the doubters and naysayers?
Never doubt Bama. We've been in the national championship every year since I've been here. And why would you doubt us? Roll Tide, man. Bama.
And how is this one special for you?
They all special, but this one real special. It's just special.
All right.
I can't really say what I want to say on here.
All right. You go enjoy this one, Calvin. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a neat gesture, Tim, to wear your brother's jersey on a night where he stepped up in a huge way, just didn't get the win.
I think it's extremely special, and his brother played really well and came up with some huge catches. And by the way, was going against some really good secondary players for Alabama and was physical and tough. His brother's going to be really good.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, we still family, right? And look, for the magnitude, and we've talked about how these guys are going to feel. Life is, they'll have more stuff to overcome as they move along. But look, Laura, I think this is the best. I don't know. I know a lot of people talked about the Rose Bowl and being there for that, and I bet that was unbelievable. And I know people talk about USC and Texas in the Rose Bowl years ago. This one is up there.
This was one of my favorite games I've ever seen, just because it truly was good on good, back and forth, but then unexpected moments. Najee Harris
Crazy
coming
moments.
up big.
What are we talking about moments?
It's unreal. I mean, the fact that Najee Harris would be the running back in this great stable of backs for Alabama that really got to Georgia's defense and tired him down.
I'm emotionally drained.
I know.
I mean,
we got to keep going.
It's like a great movie, right? Every movie hits every emotion. This game hit every emotion.
Yeah.
Me and Tim stood over here and we laughed. We raised our eyebrows. We got mad about the field goal.
We almost
cried. and then Tua throws the touchdown, and it's disbelief.
And it's literally, it's like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah. Well, okay, in the spirit of emotions, something else just happened. Bradley Bozeman, the offensive lineman for Alabama, just proposed to his girlfriend
Well, that's a good way
on
to
the
cap
field.
off for the night, right?
Why not, right?
Oh.
There they go. Here he goes. I think she said yes. What do you guys think?
She has no choice right now.
I love it. I got to know, like, where he kept the ring the whole time. We're going to get the details on it.
I bet someone handed it to him.
Congratulations to Bradley Bozeman and his future wife.
That's awesome.
I mean,
good for him, man.
This will be the best night of Bradley Bozeman's life.
Yeah,
I think so.
I don't think he's going to forget it.
Nah, he won't
The
forget
question
this.
is that they lost. Was he going to go for both?
Maybe
Hey,
you would have waited till tomorrow.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. The proposal was coming. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh, look at this little girl. That looks like fun.
Confetti angels.
She's like, is anyone seeing me? I think I'm done.
Listen,
I think I made an angel.
yeah, right. She knows. She's like, I'm on national TV.
I'm on TV. What's up,
I want to
everybody?
tell you something else. These things are hard to come by. But like Nick Saban said, this probably the happiest he's ever been because it was so hard. It was difficult to get it. And then, too, so many people around the country didn't think they should have been here.
True.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It felt like when Alabama snuck in, and even at that point, they were favored in Vegas
Yeah.
the whole time. They were favored in this game, although it was a close line. But, you know, Tim, when you think about Nick Saban and what they did go through this year, obviously Alabama is an embarrassment of riches from a recruiting standpoint, but they had their entire defense injured. They lost 40 starts to injuries. That was hard to overcome, too.
It was definitely hard to overcome, and you saw them throughout the year. They took their licks, but they kept regrouping, kept shuffling, trying to find a way, and they did. They were able to manage against Mississippi State, and then when they lost to Auburn, everybody said the sky just fell. It's over. What the heck happened? Alabama's done. No. First of all, you lost to a great Auburn team at Auburn.
Yeah, they're never done, all right, because of the dude on the sideline. But with that being said, I picked Georgia to win this game. And I picked Georgia because my heart told me Georgia. Now, if you would have repolled me when this game got close at the end and it became possession to possession, you go with the greatest. But with that being said, you look at, I just can't explain to people the magnitude of putting a true freshman in the national championship.
And it working.
He played the whole second half.
Yeah.
And overtime.
It felt like once he was in, they couldn't go back to Jalen Hurts.
This wasn't a throwaway game. This wasn't, we are talking about the national championship. For you to make that move, that's saying I'm a better coach than everybody that's ever done it.
Okay, so we just told you that Bradley Bozeman proposed to his future wife, Lauren Sisler, live with Bradley.
All right, it just happened. The big proposal here, Bradley Bozeman. Introduce us to your fiance.
This is Nikki Hagstetter, soon to be Nikki Bozeman. So she said yes, and I'm so thrilled. So.
Okay, so the big question here, was this going to happen, win or lose?
No, it was gonna happen later if we lost, but it was gonna happen tonight if we won.
So now you have 2 rings to add to that collection. How great does it feel to be out here tonight, celebrating 2 wonderful things now in your life?
It's amazing. I mean, it's great. I couldn't have pictured it any better. It's great. This girl deserves the world and more. So.
What do you feel right now? How much emotion are you feeling right now? Were you expecting this at all?
No, I just wanted to win a national championship. That's really all I wanted. It's been an awesome ride. It's a one way to go out. I can tell you that.
Okay, Bradley, where was the ring during this football game? I got to know. Show him the ring. There it is. Where was the ring?
One of our trainers held it for me. Actually, nutrition staff held it for me, and they got it at halftime. And I guess maybe that was the spark that we needed.
So, what were you more nervous about as the game clock was winding down, knowing that you could potentially be proposing to your girlfriend tonight? What was going through your mind in that moment?
That was just a lot. You know, it was a win. So I mean, you had to win to do it. So, you know, it was a 2 for 1. So.
Thanks so much, Bradley and Nikki. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren and Nikki, also part of the women's basketball team at Alabama, so big time for her as well, and that's a cool moment. You just never know what's going to happen on these fields. Fans still here in the stadium, Alabama fans soaking it all in, the confetti all over the field as you can see, and many players still around as well as coaches. We'll see who else we can be joined by in this show. When you guys think about just the magnitude of how this whole thing ended, how great is it for college football that this was such a competitive game that people will continue to look back on as fun to watch?
You know, honestly, I really believe this will go down in endings with last year's game with the 2005 Rose Bowl, USC versus Texas. I mean, as one of the best games in the championship games in the history of college football. It's just the comeback, the freshman quarterbacks, the battles, the back and forth, the missed field goal, the made field goal. I mean, the second and 26 game-winning touchdown pass. Like, it's what?
The College Football Playoff Committee are the happiest people in America right now.
Yeah, they are.
They got this thing right. And regardless of how you felt before all of this took place, Clemson was the #1 team coming in. Bama was favored. And Oklahoma and Georgia, it's no way you could have told me it would be a better game 7 days later than what we witnessed in the Rose Bowl. And for this to take place in Atlanta, where the SEC champions, first of all, this conference, all right, #1, think about this conference. Think about the league offices. Think about the people at this network. How can you plan it any better? I mean, this is crazy. And look, you got conspiracy theorists out there that says, well, it's the SEC and they played it out and they wanted it to be drama-filled. This is as raw as it gets. And this is the greatest thing that I've been a part of other than winning the national championship in 2003.
First of all, let me just tell you something. If you're planning it, this wouldn't be the way. You can't even plan that. You can't plan that.
It was too good to be scripted. And we have seen such a thrilling, riveting few days of college football. You go back to that Rose Bowl and you think about what's happened here. The confetti's flying everywhere. And plenty more to come on SEC Now. The game winner, freshman to freshman, Devontae Smith coming up with a touchdown, and Tua Tagovailoa victorious for his Tide family. The biggest moment in Tua Tagovailoa's playing career so far happens right here in overtime. And here he goes, right to his fellow freshman, Devontae Smith, for the touchdown. Sees it all the way and able to get it done. It was a blown coverage, as Tim said, but ultimately, the Alabama Crimson Tide come up victorious in the national championship game and are able to win it. This is a very slow play, guys. We can really see it all happening in full detail here, can't we?
I mean,
It's just, it's still speechless for me.
I'm going to go into a little football. If you look at Tua Tagovailoa, you can't necessarily teach what just happened.
Look at Jalen Hurts' reaction here, guys. Wow. Lauren Sisler is with Deshaun Hand.
Deshaun, in a game that was back and forth, so much drama, but so entertaining for all of us. How does it feel right now to be crowned a national champions once again?
Man, all the hard work pays off, man. We had to grind it out. The coach already told us it's going to be 60 minutes, and we wasn't going to be denied, man. You know, the national championship was going to be ours, and we was not going to be denied at all by nobody.
What do you believe to be the defining moment in this football game for you guys?
Just coming out in the second half, man, we had a new attitude. Everybody was still positive. We wasn't down on ourselves. We was down, 13-0? I think, yeah. Nobody was, you know what I'm saying, too frustrated or anything. We just had to go back to the drawing board, settle down, relax. Man, yeah, we won. Settle down, relax, and, I mean, it paid off.
What do you want to tell all the Tide fans out there and all of your teammates after getting this big win here tonight?
Man, listen, Tide fans, I love y'all. This is the best 4 years of my life, and, man, roll Tide.
Thanks so much. Congratulations. Enjoy it.
Lots of embracing here in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The national champions, Alabama Crimson Tide. The runners-up, the Georgia Bulldogs, with an amazing season, a charm season. Alabama ends up getting the crimson and white confetti here all over this field, and it was a moment that they will not be forgetting anytime soon. That was interesting, Marcus, what Deshaun Hand was just saying. The adjustments at halftime, that's one thing, but they came out with another attitude in the second half. What about the experience that this Tide defense has helped them there?
Well, I think they showed the mentality of a champion, and what it was they got knocked out in the first half.
Yeah.
Bama being down 13-0, I think everybody in this stadium was knocked out as well. And the fact that they came back and was able to have success in the second half, it's all about that locker room and those players. We can talk about Coach Saban and the adjustment that he made, and we can talk about a lot of things that this coaching staff did. But at some point in games like this, as a player, you just got to make up your mind that we're going to go out and do what we need to do to at least give ourselves a shot. And I think that's what they did, and that mentality change was the world.
I really believe that the wind was taken out of Alabama's sails in the first half, because for the first time that I can remember, they were getting beat at their own game. Georgia was out Alabamaing Alabama for the first time, and there wasn't a lot of hope. There wasn't, Ole Miss games, they hit a bunch of big plays and they might be up 17 points, but it's like, well, Alabama's going to get it together. It didn't feel like Alabama was going to get it together, and that's why I believe they made the switch to Tua, because he would give them hope. There was no ground game, there was no running game with Jalen, so they said, we got to find hope again, and hope was in Tua's left arm. That's where they found hope.
And I want to go back to a play he made. Probably, I think what got him going was that scramble on like
the third and 7 play.
The 3rd and 7 play. Because, look, the kid, we knew about his talent. We saw him in practice. Everybody talked about Nick Saban would go to Tua possibly and all of that. But you don't ever really think it's going to happen. You don't think that Jalen Hurts is going to struggle like he struggled in the first half because of just what we've seen over time. But, guys, we talked about it before the game. He's a champion. He understands what to do in these moments better than most coaches do. And look, for all intents and purposes, Kirby Smart and Georgia in the second half, to me, went into preservation mode. And you can never get comfortable against this guy. And there were some plays to be made that some players didn't make. But with that being said, Georgia knew, I think at some point in that fourth quarter, that we are in a lot of trouble if we don't make a play. And
I tell you what,
it's just,
you don't want to harp on this play, but when Georgia had an opportunity to continue to run the clock out, they had a 3rd and 2, I believe, and it had a flat route to DeAndre Swift.
He could have turned up the field too.
No, but it's a first down. Doesn't matter. You get the first down, and you at least probably run 4 more minutes off of the clock, and that changes the complexion of the game. And Jake overthrew it, and it's those little plays like that. If you hit, it's probably not a big deal to the fans. They just think, oh, that's a 3rd and 2, but that's everything in this game.
It's just like the check down that hit off the Bama player's helmet and ended up on an interception with Raekwon Davis. I mean, that type of stuff.
That was nuts, by the way.
You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff, those plays that Alabama made tonight, Clemson made last year. And they just did. I mean, you look at the opportunities that Georgia had. Georgia came out actually in the 3rd and 4th quarter and was gashing Alabama in the run game a little bit. They went to the one-back run, Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, just enough to keep the clock going. Freak play with the bounce off the helmet. And then you get a big-time pass interference on the sideline down here late in the game to give them great field position. It's just a whole bunch of things. And it takes luck. I don't care who you are. As a national champion, when you get to this point, I know for me and most of the guys that I talk to, there are some things that were out of your control that just happened that ended up putting you in a great situation.
Let's touch base on this, right? Wisconsin beats Ohio State. Alabama's not here.
Not in the playoffs.
Good point.
Right?
They're not in the top 4.
And we would have a different national champion, I would go ahead and go out on a limb and say at that point.
For sure.
And it's probably Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we've talked about all these moments that were integral in this game. One that I think shouldn't be lost in all the shuffle is what Jalen Hurts did to support his team on the sideline. That's one thing for tonight. But Jalen Hurts got them to this point in a way. Obviously, their defense has stepped up big, but still, only 2 losses to his name during his entire Alabama career. He caught up with Tom Rinaldi after the game.
Jalen Hurts. Jalen, you've just been shaking your head. You've had that smile on your face. Your reaction when you found out Tua was going to start the second half, honestly.
He was going to step in and do his thing. You know, we have a lot of guys in the QB room that play really well, and he stepped in and did his thing. Did his thing for the team.
In every offensive huddle, you were right there next to him throughout the second half and overtime. What was your message to him?
Ball. Play your game. Ball. You know, he's destined for stuff like this. He's built for stuff like this. He has the it factor, and I'm so happy for him, happy for this team.
What does it mean to you to be a national champion?
It's unbelievable. I dreamed about this.
Congratulations, Jalen.
Thank you.
I know a lot of Alabama fans were talking about wanting Tua to come into the game. They should also be big fans of Jalen Hurts. Here's Nick Saban live at the podium right now.
You know, when we lost last year on the last play of the game, we said don't waste the failing. Is the lesson that we all wanted to learn. And I think the resiliency that this team has shown all year long certainly proves that they sort of learned something from that. And couldn't be prouder of a bunch of coaches and a bunch of players and the people in our organization who contribute to the success of the University of Alabama.
As a reminder, we will take questions for Coach first. We'll start over here to our left.
Nick, Pat 40 from Yahoo Sports. Could you just go through the decision to change quarterbacks at halftime, and was there any reticence to do so?
No, I felt like that, you know, we've had this in our mind that if we were struggling offensively that we would give to an opportunity even in the last game. And no disrespect to Jalen, but the real thought is, you know, we came into the game thinking that we were going to run the ball and be able to run quarterback runs, which we made a couple of explosive plays on. But just without the absence of a passing game and being able to make explosive plays and be able to convert on third down, I just didn't feel like we could run the ball well enough, and I thought Tua would give us a better chance and a spark, which he certainly did. And, you know, I couldn't be prouder of him taking advantage of the opportunity. We have total confidence in him. We played him a lot in a lot of games this year, and he did very well, and he certainly did a great job tonight.
Go back over here, right to our left, sort of in the middle.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. Nick, after Tua threw that pick, he came over on the sideline, put his arm around you, and looked like he said, "Coach, it's okay. I'll get it back." I wondered if you could walk us through that. And then, were you surprised at his moxie?
Well, the issue is we missed a signal. In other words, everybody was running a running play, and he thought it was a passing play. So it causes a problem when all the receivers are blocking instead of running a pass route. And then it sort of quadruples the problem when a quarterback throws it to him anyway. But we learn from those things, right?
Yes, sir.
And he was just reassuring me that he would learn from it.
We're going to take our next question over here.
You love those special moments where sometimes Coach Saban will peel back the curtain just a little bit and tell you what was actually going on there.
What a confidence Tua must be feeling right now. I mean, for him to get that reassurance from his coach and then have an opportunity to go into this game with everything on the line and deliver. I mean, Tua is the most famous man in the country right now. I'm telling you.
But let's just think about what we're talking about, right? Like, he missed a signal, something that you go over in the first 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And so he's throwing the game-winning touchdown pass, and in the same game he's missing the signals. Yeah. Like, it's just, I mean, it's unreal, to be honest with you.
It's both ends of the spectrum. All right, we were sitting in Fine Bone Film Room talking about it when the change was made. I said, you either find lightning in the bottle or you go through the growing pains and you may cause yourself a national championship. But to have both happen was not one of the thoughts that we had on our mind. I mean, it was me and Tim were sitting here in overtime and he took a 10-yard sack right before the touchdown.
Good point.
Yeah. I mean, those are the type of things that you...
16-yard sack.
Yeah, 16, I'm sorry. Those
Get it
are
right.
The, yeah.
But it was all the way back there.
And he could have thrown away at any time. It's like, no, young man, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that. And then the next play, you're like, You can do that.
And there's so much talent on both of these teams. And like we've said, it's so young. But Nick Saban will use those teaching moments. He will let these guys enjoy this tonight. But he'll be right back in that film room, breaking it down and saying, this is what we should have done instead. This
Laura,
is what we.
they're going to get more than a night. They get more than a night. They just won the Natty.
Listen,
they get more than a night.
I guarantee you in the morning he'll be talking to recruits. I guarantee.
Oh, yeah,
Saban will be.
Yeah,
yes.
that's what you were saying.
Tua gets at least 2 nights.
Yeah, Tua go chill out.
Enjoy yourself, Tua.
Yeah, I think we'll be remiss not to mention this. This is Alabama's night, national champions. Kirby Smart's team's going to learn from this, too. We talked about the youth on Alabama. He has a lot of youth on that team. Now you get a chance to see if he can absolutely bounce back from what took place. So it's amazing, man.
We got our usual.
We finally got Deshaun Hand up here. What's up, man? Hey, here you go. Take your mic. How are you?
Man, look, I just won a national championship.
You did. How does that feel?
Listen, you ever had $1 million in your pocket one time?
Hey,
no,
look,
I haven't.
Look, bro,
Marcus has.
You I usually talk about you with that zipper being so low, but you're a national champion tonight. so I ain't gonna play. I'm gonna keep our tweets solo right now. But
you want to go viral right now?
No, you better.
Go viral?
Don't come up here with that zipper.
Goodness.
Hey,
Goodness.
any other time, don't come up here with that.
Oh, goodness.
With that zipper house.
Hey, man, I'm feeling good right now, man. I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm on a beach or something.
Hey, on a serious note, congratulations, man. What was I don't think I remember a time seeing y'all down 13-zip since we started. What was the conversation between players, not the coaches?
Right.
Because that's a time at halftime, and we both been in locker rooms.
Yeah.
That's a decision you make amongst the men that's going to be on the field. What was those conversations like for you guys?
To be honest, I mean, of course, when you go into any game, like as a big game like this, national championship or anything, you all amped up. People, giving rah-rah speeches and everything. So when we came back into the locker room, it just was, all right, look, enough with the rah-rah. Let's get down to execution. We got to sit down, see what we did wrong, and focus on what we got to get better at. So that's what we did. I mean, we really wasn't stressing because 13 points, that's not a lot. There's only 2 touchdowns to overcome. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at the end of the day, we done been in worse situations in practice with Saban.
But talk about the battle of this defense because it wasn't y'all's best game.
Right.
But in the fourth quarter, you had to make stops.
Exactly.
And you rallied together. I mean, early in the fourth quarter, they were gashing the run a little bit. And then you rally together, you get a couple of big stops, and give Tua a chance to bring you back.
Man, all that is just not being denied what you want. You know what I'm saying? I think every athlete got a little some of that in them. And we're fortunate enough to have a lot of players, majority, really the whole team is not being denied what we want. From us to the scout team giving us a good picture. I mean, we all was working so hard this week, and it was a grind because it was a tough turnaround because you got to think. We was in New Orleans, and then the next day you fly back, you got to have practice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then, it was a regular work week, but it was a big game. You know what I'm saying? It was a real workload. So to just transfer that energy for 2 weeks, it's kind of hard to do with a lot of young kids.
Yeah. What can you say about Tua Tagovailoa coming in this game? You obviously face against Tua and Jalen in practice, but to see the way that those two operated in this game and to get Tua this opportunity to win a national championship, that final play, what was your reaction?
It's crazy. I mean, it's just new to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see it in practice all the time. You know what I'm saying? We know what everybody's capable of. We know what Ruggs is capable of. We know what Smitty is capable of. Oh, well, we call him Smitty, number 6. Smitty, we know what he's capable of. Najee, Tua. I mean, Shaheem, stepped in. Terrell, Christian Miller. I mean, we know everybody's ability. It's just, when their number's called, they got to show up. And they did that.
They did.
Yeah.
Hey,
they definitely did that.
Thank you for coming by. Zip up the jacket, and we'll see you later.
I might zip down.
Nah,
oh,
man.
Goodness.
I'm giving you one night.
Congratulations on being a national champion once again. We'll be back with plenty more, but for now, that play we were talking about, the final play in overtime. Here's the call from Eli Gold on Alabama radio.
Here's Tua stepping back, loads up, looks long, throws, end zone, touchdown! Alabama! Devontae Smith! Touchdown, Alabama! And the Crimson Tide has once again ascended to the top of the college football mountain.
This was the play that won it in overtime for the Alabama Crimson Crimson Tide, Tua Tagovailoa coming up with a dime in the right moment. And the reaction in Tuscaloosa. They can't believe it. They're so excited. The Alabama Crimson Tide, national champions. It's Nick Saban's 6th all-time, and it's a huge moment for all of these players in Atlanta. And now we are joined by Minkah Fitzpatrick and Levi Wallace. And you brought us a special present here, Minkah.
Number 17, had to bring it up.
That's so nice.
Got number 17 on the side now, so got to get number 18 next.
There you go.
I don't know if you're going to be here for number 18. You helped them get 16 and 17. You might try to be, help the Browns get. You might be helping the Browns.
Hey, Mick, you know me. I'm a real dude. Top 5. He gone.
Yeah.
Straight up. Levi, I want to ask you, man.
You go take care of the family.
Bro, your story is tremendous, man. And what does this moment feel like for you, having an opportunity to play at this university after the road you took to get here, and then to be living in this moment right now, man? What does it mean to you?
Everything, literally everything. I'm out on the field crying, everyone asked me all season long, have you ever looked back? Have you ever looked back? And just in that moment, I'm thanking my dad for, allowing me to walk on, persuading me to walk on. And there's no other feeling like it, winning a national championship.
For those out there who don't know, Walter Wallace, your dad, was the biggest Alabama fan ever. It was his dream to play for Alabama. He did pass away in 2014, but what do you think he would say right now? Because he's watching down on this moment for you.
He up there getting it right now.
You know it. He's screaming out Roll Tide.
I already know. He's a man of few words, I'm sure he's going to say, that's my son, just like that, and keep on walking. But I know he's excited for me. I'm excited to play, represent his last name, and I'm glad to be part of the team with Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, no doubt.
Tell you what, both of you guys, you're great players, you're great role models, you're great for college football, and so I'm proud of both of you guys. But talk a little bit about the battle that this team, because it wasn't your best game. It wasn't pretty for a long time. But there was a switch that was flipped in the fourth quarter that you guys made, and you came up with huge stops as a defense to give Tua a chance. Talk about rallying together to make those stops.
Everybody just knew what we had to do. We had to execute, finish, and get the ball back to the offense, get the ball and drive down the field and score. And, we just all talked to each other. We said, we ain't going to be talking, we ain't going to be saying nothing. We're just going to go out there, do our job, and execute. Just show them how we play and get the ball back to the offense, and that's what we did.
How do you feel, by the way? Because before the game, I know you said you were good, but you did have the bruised kidney and all that. How are you doing?
I'm feeling great about the win, the bruised kidney. I feel it, but we're good.
I see what you said. You're trying to set up the flu game like Michael Jordan.
Now, you've done a tremendous job, man. But, the one thing about you guys, and for as much success as y'all have experienced as a university, I think y'all do this gracefully, man. And y'all really give credit to y'all opponent. How good was Georgia?
Georgia was a great team, and I respect them very, very much. And they had a whole lot of talent, a whole lot of players out there making plays. Coach Kirby, love him as a coach, love him as a man, and he's taught me a whole lot. And I'm really happy for him and the program that he's developed there. And like I said, I just respect him a whole lot.
No doubt.
Definitely. Everyone's focused so much on Georgia's running game, and they have a great group of receivers, probably the best receiver corps we've faced all year. Mm-hmm. And hats off to those guys. They made some really great plays. They're a great team all around.
You guys are national champions. What are you gonna do?
I'm probably going to go celebrate with my family and then sleep for a long, long time. That boy tired.
Same, man, exhausted. I'm definitely exhausted, Same, celebrate with my family, teammates. But, anything goes for the night,
Yeah.
Anything goes for the night.
Well, congrats, man. Y'all, look, you earned them all, but y'all earned this one tonight, boss.
Yeah.
It took every minute and some to get it done. Congrats, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you guys, and thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back on SEC Now from Atlanta following a Crimson Tide victory over the Georgia Bulldogs, the college football playoff national champions in 2018. Minkah Fitzpatrick putting an exclamation point on this season. It all culminated tonight. night in Atlanta. The college football season, unfortunately, is over. We have to wait until next year to see what's going to happen. But this year, the Alabama Crimson Tide are the national champions, and it's Georgia versus Alabama. Nick Saban and the Tide looking for their 5th championship in the last 9 seasons. And Kirby Smart and Georgia looking for their first title since 1980. The first college football title game with 2 teams from the same conference. After Bama picked off Jake Fromm on the first drive, Jalen Hurts looks to the end zone, overthrowing Calvin Ridley there, Tim.
Yeah, he really had a great opportunity there, and that's where I feel like he started to lose a little bit of confidence after he missed that throw.
Andy Papanasta's kick wide left. Alabama unable to capitalize off the Fromm interception. Still scoreless. 1 minute and 41 seconds left in the first. Still scoreless. Georgia faces 3rd and 20. Sony Michel, Marcus, pops out right.
Well, this is what he does. They got into one-back runs to remove some guys from the box. And Sony Michel made guys miss. Great bounce out to the edge and was able to pick up a first down.
But that's not Alabama defense. I mean, the defensive end collapsing, the linebacker getting squeezed, the corner taking the bad angle. That was not Alabama defense. And
Anthony Jennings wasn't playing on that play.
Here's Michel again, taking it over midfield for the first. It's a 14-yard game.
And long.
2 plays later, 28 seconds left. Fromm, guys, hitting Terry Godwin for the 16-yard gain.
Look, whatever it was, Alabama defense, they didn't know what to do. I give Georgia a lot of credit. Georgia, they did a tremendous job in the first half, making plays, extending drives, and just giving themselves an opportunity to put points on the board.
Mecole Hardman there with the wild dog, takes it in for the touchdown, and Georgia's up 13-0 after a dominant first half. So to the second half we go, and the third quarter brings a change at quarterback for Bama. It's Tua Tagovailoa in. Opening drive, 3rd and 4. Tua sacked by Roquan Smith. Marcus.
Yeah, and this was a little bit about being a freshman and maybe holding on to the ball too long. But look, you got to give a kid tremendous credit because he just kept chugging away, plugging away.
Great throw.
It was a great throw.
That's a great throw right there.
3rd and 7 here. Tua pressured right, breaking tackles. And, guys, you mentioned this being a huge play in this game, able to scramble there.
Yeah, if Georgia makes that tackle, I really don't think Alabama wins the game.
Yeah, and as a defensive player, it breaks your back because you got to line down again and play at least 3 more downs. And what happened? They eventually give up big play.
Alabama campus loves it. And to you guys' point, Tua hitting Robert Foster for another first down.
This was a nice possession for them. And this was one or 2 early possessions where they got him some quick throws, didn't have to really go through a lot of things.
By the way, that's the same play to the other side.
Absolutely. And he just delivered.
And by the way, that's another freshman, Henry Ruggs. He goes back to him again for the touchdown, Tua does. And that gives Alabama some life. You'll see Jalen Hurts in a moment congratulating his teammate there. So now
great anticipation on that big route.
Jake Fromm trying to respond, and he goes to Mecole Hardman, Marcus.
This is what 11 has been doing all season long. And this was a great play for him to go up 20-7. And it was an answer to what Alabama had just done. And Georgia felt good about this.
I mean, can we talk about Mecole Hardman and the way that he performed?
Explosive now.
I mean,
unreal.
Guys, he said coming into this game he wanted to make a big play. Well, he made more than one.
Talking to Scott Frost on the sideline, he said, man, I wanted that guy so much in high school. He said his highlight video in high school was freakish.
There's Tua getting intercepted. That's DeAndre Baker. Big game for Baker, and he's awarded the Golden Spikes. Saban talking to Tua after the play. Saban said in his press conference that it was just miscommunication. Ensuing Georgia possession, Fromm trying to create, ball batted and then intercepted by Raekwon Davis. This was a weird play, guys.
I mean, look, this is the part we were talking about earlier. Sometimes you just need things to happen for you. Alabama didn't cause this. It bounced off a guy's helmet, of all things, and ended up as an interception. It was a break for Alabama.
So Alabama's going to get the ball back, and ensuing possession, 3rd and 10. Tua pressured this time, throwing incomplete. So then that allows Georgia to hold Alabama to a field goal. To the 4th quarter we go. Another freshman making an impact. Here's where Najee Harris starts to take over, picking up 16 yards right here.
Yeah, and Laura, Najee Harris came in the game. He had 6 carries for 65 yards. He averaged 10 yards a carry. You know what that says? Fresh legs. I got a defense out here that's tired. We're pounding the football. I'm a big physical, #1 recruit in the country at running back, and I'm going to just use my power and run over guys that are tired.
They were in a situation where throughout this year they could rotate those running backs and keep them fresh. And there's Dominic Sanders, that close to an incredible interception, not able to come up with it, Tim.
But again, if he makes that play, game is over.
Yeah.
Good point.
Opportunities.
Alabama looking for the stop on 3rd and short, and Sony Michel can't break through right here.
See, this is the part for me that I struggle with the call by Jim Chaney. You ran into the heart of this defense and hadn't had much success. And when they know you're running the football, I thought the perimeter should have been tried again by Georgia there.
How about this pass interference call in a crucial moment of the game?
Yeah, that's a tough call. I mean, it's dealer's choice. It's the judgment of the referee.
Bama inside the 10, 3rd and 3. Damian Harris met in the backfield.
Big Trenton Thompson.
Great play.
Playing stout inside.
This is when we got to the field, guys. The Tide decide to go for it on 4th down. Tua pressured, throws for the end zone. Caught by Calvin Ridley right there. Let's take another look at that catch.
Yep.
Calvin Ridley, terrific.
What a great job coming back to the football, giving his quarterback an option.
And a great job by his quarterback keeping his eyes downfield, keeping his eyes, trying to find something.
And that tied it up at 20. Jake Fromm's turn now, 3rd and 3. And Fromm, big play, Tim. You talked about this. Can't find DeAndre Swift.
I mean, it really has a chance. You complete that, gives them an opportunity to go down and win the game.
So now it's Tua's turn to come back in. 1st and 10, and Tua hits Ridley. Ridley finally getting involved in the game here a little more. 9 yards, but Georgia with a face mask on the play there.
Big penalty right there because you can line down and possibly keep them out of field goal range, but you add the face mask and you get a little bit closer.
Later in the drive, 3rd and 3, Tua keeps it, picks up the 1st down right there.
I mean, that's just making plays. We saw Jarrett Stidham make the plays against Alabama just like that to continue to extend drives. That was it. Put my head down and get the first down.
It's also being smart, knowing exactly where he had to get to, and being able to maneuver his body to put himself in the best position possible.
Here's Andy Pappanastos for the win here, 36 yards, but it hooks it way left, and so that means free football. We're headed to overtime.
I ain't gonna even lie, I was nervous for that kid. When he missed that field goal, I was nervous for him, man.
It doesn't end up, well, we'll see what happens. Overtime, Georgia 3rd and 6. Jake Fromm here, and you see the freshman moment.
You gotta throw it away. You gotta throw it away. Good thing what a great kicker.
Yeah, and here comes Rodrigo Blankenship on from 51 yards. Nails it.
What a kicker.
Huge
what a
kick.
postseason he had.
Yeah.
He had the first 6 points of the game, too, for Georgia. He was big. Georgia up 3 there. So now Bama with a chance in overtime. And in their first play, Tua with a freshman moment, Marcus.
Yeah, and this is what, I mean, we talked about it, the ups and downs that you would go through by having them in the game. And this was one of those times where you wanted that decision to be better.
But,
you know, Saban's no. And now he's like, yes.
Look at this, guys. Look at this final play in overtime. Devontae Smith comes up with the touchdown. Alabama wins it 26-23.
And I was emotionally drained.
Minka Fitzpatrick with the championship belt, and that really means a little extra on a night like tonight. Nick Saban lifting his 2nd college football playoff national championship trophy, and Maria Taylor catching up with Devontae Smith, the guy who caught the winning touchdown.
Devontae, you made the catch of the night. What was going through your mind as you saw that ball in the air headed to your hands?
This is your opportunity. This is what you come here to do. It's just up to my quarterback. He believed in me. I told him before the play, I looked at him, I said, believe in me, Tua. He nodded at me, and then he just gave me my chance.
Your coach decided to make a quarterback change at the half. How did he describe or tell you guys what was going to happen in the second half?
Well, he just went up to Tua and said, your chance is going to come, and then they just made the switch.
What changed about this offense when Tua joined the game?
Well, really, the tempo. We picked up the tempo, but no matter who was in, we was going to pick up the tempo they have, and we just executed whatever coach called.
You had to score 13 straight points to even get back into this game. I mean, how were you guys able to battle back after being down so far?
Everybody's message in the locker room was game it over to the last whistle, and we kept pushing. We know this ain't our first time being down, so we just kept pushing. That's what all the extra 110s and everything for.
Okay, but it is your first time in a national championship game. You are a freshman, and a lot of freshmen had to show up in this one. What did the youth movement do to this game?
Hey, just nothing but God. God led us all the way here. This is what we came here to do. That's what everybody that's on this team came here to do.
All right, thanks for your time.
No problem.
Big reception right there, but I mean, maybe the best hands on the team right here. Deron Payne joining us on the set. Marcus Spears, Tim Tebow, Laura Rutledge here too. And what a game. What's your reaction to watching the way this ended as you guys were on the sideline trying to figure out if you were going to be able to win a national championship?
I just think everybody just knew that it was going to be a fourth quarter game coming in. And we went into the halftime. We just knew that we were going to come out and fight. And I'm just glad my teammates just bought into the program and Coach Saban's game plan, and it just came out the right way.
When you saw that field goal miss, what were you thinking? I've been in that situation before you answer this question.
Yeah,
I've been in that situation. What were you thinking at that time?
Just Coach Pruitt came up to us before then, and I just knew that we still had a game to play, so it was just time to finish and go out there and just finish the game and get what we wanted.
Talk about this defense and the adjustments you made, specifically in the fourth quarter, to get some big stops.
Yeah, everybody was just bought in, and I seen a look on everybody's eyes. They just was ready to go, and they didn't want to leave nothing on the field, so they just went out there and balled. So I was glad for everybody.
Y'all had some uncharacteristic downs, getting gassed a little bit. Yeah. What was going on at that time? Were guys pressing, or Georgia was just doing a good job kind of getting y'all off balance?
I think it just has to do everything with execution and the way we executed. And everybody, Coach Saban and Coach Pruitt always talk about not farming somebody else's land and just playing your box. And I think everybody was just out there trying to make plays instead of doing their job.
I like that. Don't farm somebody else's land. Come on.
You need to learn that. Don't farm their land. Farm my land.
I heard it before.
He can farm whatever land he wants.
I've heard it before.
That was weird. Okay, you mentioned the word finish, and that's been the mantra ever since last season when, frankly, the defense didn't come up with a stop that was needed to win that game. How did finishing factor in all season long, and especially tonight?
We worked hard in the offseason. I think we went into the offseason and this season just ready to compete to get back here, so we won't feel like we did last year. And I think we did a good job of doing that, and everybody came out and just left it all on the field and played their hearts out tonight. And I'm just proud of them.
Well, you're a national champ now, bro.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations.
Be honest. Was there an offensive play for you in this game potentially?
Yeah,
were you going to go back to it?
I was going to be blocking, though.
Oh.
I was going to be blocking.
All right. Well, yeah, they would have had to think about you catching it.
First time wasn't form. Them hands in the national championship a little slippery.
Nah, I was going to catch them.
Don't murk him like that. Thanks so much, Deron Payne. Congratulations being a national championship in 2018. And plenty more to come here in Atlanta. The confetti is flowing. Those look like streamers. The headline says, again, with exclamation points. And yes, they've done it again. Alabama, national champs.